Over the decades, the way we've kept reptiles has shifted and changed. We used to keep them in repurposed aquariums and all sorts of weird and wonderful things. But nowadays, we've got these fantastic, purpose-built, modern, front-opening vivariums. We've got some specialist lighting, specialist heating and thermostats. And what we're going to do in this next video is we're going to build a new hognose snake enclosure for a new hognose snake that we've got coming very, very soon. What I want you to do is join us in this build, and we're going to look at 3 different aspects of vivarium construction. Assembly and sealing. We're going to talk about wiring the vivarium. We're going to talk about decorating for the species specific that we're going to put inside the vivarium. I'm Simon Fox. Welcome to Sid Si Snakes, and let's go and have a look. So introducing Sid James of Sid Si Snakes. This is all the gear, Sid, so let's have a look. This is step number 1, isn't it? We're going to be assembling this vivarium. What sort of consideration is going to give for size for a snake?
So I think what we've been doing is we've been trying to let the snake stretch out. So there's a lot of research that says if you give the snake the chance to stretch out, they will do so. So that's what we're going to allow. There's no consensus on whether it's needed, but we're going to go for 3 for Viv here. For a hognose, that's definitely less than 3 for now. Probably will stay less than 3 for overall. The idea behind that is there's lots of research that says if you have a snake and you give it space to stretch out, it will do so. Hognose are very small, so it's very easy to do that. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, so if you've got the space, might as well give it maximum space that's where it can climb. It's a Vivexotic maxi medium, so it's a perfect example of what we need to give this snake for exactly what it needs. Let's talk about the material considerations. There's all sorts of different materials out there. We've got PVC, MFC, it's a plastic covered chipboard, as it were. All sorts of plastic tubs and repurposed aquariums. So what sort of materials are we considering for this build?
So here we've got a wooden Viv, and the main reason and difference why you might not want it compared to plastic Viv is the humidity levels. So plastic Vivs are very good for wet, damp, high humidity species. Wooden Vivs are very good for insulating heat. They get a bit damaged with the high humidity. We've got a hognose, so low humidity requirements, other than maybe a bit of substrate will get damp. Yeah,
it's one of those plain species, isn't it? So it's sort of arid, scrubland, down to temperate. So we're not really going to crank up the high humidity like these guys. We're not worried about adding extra water into the environment. We've also got a new vivarium here, haven't we, Sid? Yeah. What about second-hand vivariums? There's a lot of them out on the market. What are we looking at in terms of second-hand vivariums for those sort of cost-saving measures?
Yeah, loads of second-hand vivs available. Check the condition, make sure there's no damage in the bottom, especially where there's been substrate. Make sure all the fittings, the vents and the doors are secure and glass is in good runners. Second-hand vivs is a good way to save some money. Find them.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about wiring up later on. And what about sort of second-hand components? Are you worried about buying new, or is it okay to get second-hand, do you think?
I would tend to, certainly for the lighting, go for new lights, make sure the elements and the filaments are all in good shape. If you do get second-hand heating equipment, test it all out first, make sure it's running before you get an animal anywhere near it, make sure you've done it with it. Yeah, that's the most important thing. If we're going to do any build, whether it be brand new, second-hand, whatever we're going to do, you must test run that vivarium to make sure the temperature is stable, make sure the lighting works and the heating works. We want to make sure that animals are safe in a safe environment before we start putting animals in. We've got to test run it absolutely 100% thoroughly. So without further ado, shall we start unboxing this thing? Yeah, let's get unboxing.
Let's have a look, see what's inside. And here we go with our Vivexotic Maxi Medium Hognose Snake build. With Vivexotics, we actually start building them upside down. So what you're seeing here is actually the roof. We put the little plastic lugs in the rail, put the wooden dowels in, and we're just lining them up, make sure they're all lined up, tap them in with a little mallet. Here's the side pieces. There's little metal circle biscuit things, and then we lock them into place onto the little lugs that go onto the side. Click, 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 and another little click. Then we get the back piece. You'll see that these lugs go in there as well, and there's 2 vents at the top and 1 at the bottom, and the vents are facing the inside of the vivarium. We're going to lock those little lugs off again, and there goes the rail. We've got four lugs there to lock off. So that's all assembled there. We're assembling the base now, and the base is held on with screws. Make sure you line all the screw holes up first. Don't be tempted to tighten them up. Otherwise you tighten one up and it's all out of line, and then you won't get them all in the holes. Let's apply a little Allen wrench, quickly whiz them up. Not so tight that you're going to tear the Vivarium, but nice and secure nonetheless. Whizzy, whizzy, whizzy. Nice and tight. And then last one. Perfect. Okay, so now we're installing the bottom rail, held in by exactly the same system. Just a little Allen wrench onto the screws, make sure you line them up. And then the rails. You've got to make sure the rails are right round. The top rail's got the deeper bit and the bottom rail is the lower bit. Take the vents out, and then we're going to wipe it all down. This is methylated spirits. The reason why we wipe it down, look at that, is there's sometimes a bit of dust or factory grease or something like that, and when we apply silicone to these joints, we've got to make sure that they're absolutely 100% clean, otherwise those silicones are going to start peeling away all those lovely joins that you're going to make. So make sure they're nice and clean and dry. Methylated spirits dries quite quick. We use HA6 aquarium grade silicone. You can use all sorts of 100% silicones. As long as there's no fungicide, it's good for the creature. Apply it to a silicone gum. And you cut the nozzle to specification and then apply a bead. And we're going to seal all sides of the Vivarium. This mix here we're using to dab our finger in is basically washing up liquid at 50% with water. Should be sticky enough that it sticks to your finger, but not so runny that it bubbles. And we're just going to go over it, all the joints bit by bit. And when you're doing your silicones, start from one corner and kind of work your way into the middle if you've got like a length to do, and then go to the other corner rather than trying to go from corner to corner. So corner to middle, and exactly the same when you're doing your running your bead in with your finger, and that's just to force that silicone into the joints and corners. Always handy to have a bit of a rag there to lay your silicone on and wipe up any mistakes. I've done quite a few silicone beads in my time, so I'm quite quick and effective with it now, but don't worry about it. And that little handy torch, that's a really nice tool. Put your vents in, then you go one way, nice and secure, and we're going to put the glass in, and there's a little hole in that glass where that lock goes in. We're going to tape up that little hole, and that's to stop any of the gases coming off from the silicone. We're going to keep it in the lounge while it kind of gases off. So tape up these vents, nice and secure, make sure no smell comes out, and you're good to go. Okay then, well, that's phase one of the build done, Sid.
Yeah.
How long do you think we should leave it? Because, you know, the chemicals that we use, the HA6 sealant, is pretty nasty stuff, so that's why we kind of taped up the back.
Absolutely.
So make sure it's
give it a good 24 hours to cure properly, make sure all the smells are gone, all the stuff's evaporated and it's set, and then move on.
Yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to open those doors every 24 hours and just give it a good whiff. The important thing to remember is if you do reseal the magnets or wired up and things like that, before you put the animal in, just make sure you test run it with the heat, because it fully gases off those smells. So, hopefully you're going to join us on part number 2, where we're going to start wiring up the Vivarium. We're going to talk about thermostat and lighting and anything else that we need to do to get this ready for your snake.